In the heart of the Cherokee Hills, whispers carried on the wind. A child was born, pale as moonlight, with eyes like clear streams. Her name was Awinita, meaning fawn, but the villagers saw only her difference. They called her a witch, their fear twisting love into suspicion. Her mother, Lec, held her close, shielding her from cruel tongues, praying to the spirits for protection. Awinita's skin glowed under the sun, her hair white as snow. Children mocked her, throwing stones, while elders muttered of curses. Lec taught her the old ways, herbs, songs, the sacred fire. "You are of the earth," she said, "not a demon." But fear grew in the village. A drought scorched the crops, and blame fell on Awinita. "She's cursed us," they cried, their voices sharp as flint. One night, the village council met by firelight. Torches flickered, casting shadows like ghosts. "The Pale One brings misfortune," the headman declared. Lec pleaded, her voice breaking, but fear deafened them. They decided, Awinita must be cast out. "Take her to the woods," they said, "where spirits judge." Lec's heart shattered, but she could not defy the council's will. At dawn, they came for Awinita. Lec clung to her, tears falling like rain. The men tore the child away, her small hands reaching for her mother. They marched her to the forest's edge, where pines stood like silent judges. Awinita, only 7, stood trembling, her white hair catching the sunrise. "Go," they said, and turned away, leaving her alone in the vast, whispering woods. Awinita wandered, her bare feet bleeding on roots. She called for Lec, but only owls answered. Hunger gnawed her belly, and cold wrapped her like a shroud. Yet she remembered Lec's teachings. The forest was alive, its spirits kind to those who listened. She found a stream, drank deeply, and whispered thanks to the water. A spark of hope flickered in her young heart. In the village, Lec's grief was a storm. She knelt by the sacred fire, offering tobacco and prayers. "Great Spirit, protect my child," she begged. Visions came. Awinita, small and pale, under ancient trees. Lec's heart told her the girl lived, but guilt gnawed her soul. She had failed to protect her daughter from the village's fear, from their blind cruelty born of ignorance. Days passed, and Awinita learned the forest's ways. She ate berries, guided by Lec's lessons, and slept beneath mossy stones. A deer, gentle as a friend, led her to a clearing where wildflowers bloomed. She wove a crown of them, feeling the earth's pulse. "I am not a witch," she whispered, her voice steady. The forest seemed to nod, its branches swaying in agreement. Back in the village, whispers grew. Some regretted their choice, haunted by Awinita's wide eyes. Others clung to their fear, blaming her for every misfortune. Lec, though, grew stronger. She sang the old songs, calling to the spirits. One night, a dream showed her a white wolf beside Awinita. "She is protected," the dream said. Lec vowed to find her, no matter the cost. Awinita found a cave, its walls etched with ancient symbols. She traced them, feeling a hum in her bones. The spirits were near, she knew. She lit a small fire, using skills Lec taught her, and sang a Cherokee lullaby. The cave echoed, amplifying her voice. Outside, a white wolf appeared, its eyes kind. It curled beside her, warm and real, guarding her through the night. Lec prepared to leave the village. She packed herbs, a knife, and a blanket, ignoring the elders' warnings. "You defy tradition," they said, but her love was fiercer than their rules. She slipped into the forest at dusk, guided by the stars and her dream of the white wolf. Each step was a prayer, each breath a plea for Awinita's safety. The woods welcomed her, alive with secrets. Awinita's days in the forest blurred into weeks. She grew thin but strong, her spirit unbroken. The white wolf, whom she named Galilahi, meaning attractive, stayed close. Together, they found food and water, moving deeper into the woods. Awinita felt the spirits' presence, their whispers in the leaves. She was no witch, but a child of the earth, loved by its guardians. Lec tracked her daughter, finding signs, a footprint, a woven flower. Her heart leapt at each clue. She sang as she walked, her voice a beacon. One night, she heard a faint echo, a lullaby she'd taught Awinita. Tears fell as she followed the sound, her steps quickening. The forest seemed to part, guiding her to a clearing where firelight glowed, warm and alive. Awinita sat by her fire, Galilahi at her side. She sensed a presence and stood, clutching a stick. "Who's there?" she called, her voice brave. Elsie stepped into the light, her face worn but radiant. "My child," she whispered. Awinita ran to her, their embrace a collision of love and relief. The white wolf watched, its eyes gleaming, as mother and daughter reunited under the stars. They sat by the fire, Elsie stroking Awinita's hair. "I never believed them," she said. "You are my light." Awinita told her of the wolf, the cave, the spirits. Elsie listened, awed by her daughter's strength. "The Great Spirit sent Galilahi," she said. "They decided to stay in the forest, away from the village's fear, to live as the old ones did, in harmony with the earth." The village, meanwhile, withered. Crops failed, and guilt festered. Some spoke of fetching Awinita, but pride held them back. A young boy, who once threw stones, confessed his shame. "She was no witch," he said, tears falling. His words stirred others, and a few set out to find her, hoping to atone. They followed Elsie's path, their hearts heavy with regret. Elsie and Awinita built a life in the forest. They wove baskets, gathered herbs, and honored the spirits. Galilahi hunted with them, a silent protector. Awinita's laughter returned, her pale skin glowing with joy. Elsie taught her more of the Cherokee ways, passing down stories of the stars and the sacred fire. The forest was their home, its embrace warm and eternal. The villagers found the clearing, drawn by the lullaby's echo. They saw Awinita, radiant and alive, beside Elsie. Shame silenced them. "We were wrong," one said, kneeling. Awinita, wise beyond her years, forgave them. "Fear blinds," she said, "but love sees." Elsie stood proud, her daughter's strength a mirror of her own. The villagers bowed, awed by the child they'd wronged. Some villagers stayed, learning from Elsie and Awinita. They built a small camp, living as the old ones did. Awinita taught them to listen to the forest, to see its spirits. The white wolf watched, a guardian of their new beginning. The drought lifted, rains returning, as if the earth forgave them too. The camp grew, a haven for those seeking truth over fear. Awinita grew, her wisdom spreading. She became a healer, her pale hands soothing the sick. Elsie smiled, knowing her daughter was no curse but a blessing. The villagers who stayed shed their old fears, embracing the Cherokee ways. They sang by the fire, their voices rising to the stars. Awinita's laughter mingled with theirs, a song of healing and hope. Years passed, and Awinita's story became legend. The Cherokee spoke of the pale child who walked with spirits, who turned fear into love. Elsie grew old, her heart full, watching Awinita lead with grace. Galilahi, the white wolf, never left her side, a symbol of the Great Spirit's protection. The forest thrived, its secrets safe with those who honored it. The village that cast Awinita out faded, its people scattered. Those who joined her in the forest built a new community, rooted in respect for the earth. They carved symbols like those in Awinita's cave, honoring the spirits. Children played without fear, their laughter echoing. Awinita, now a woman, stood tall, her white hair a crown, her eyes bright with purpose. Elsie's final days were peaceful. She sat with Awinita, the fire warm between them. "You are my legacy," she said, her voice soft. Awinita held her hand, tears falling. When Elsie passed, the forest mourned, a gentle rain falling. Awinita buried her by the stream, under wildflowers, knowing her mother's spirit joined the Great Spirit, watching over her forever. Awinita led the forest community, her heart a beacon. She taught the young ones Elsie's songs, ensuring the old ways lived on. The white wolf, graying but loyal, stayed near. Visitors came, drawn by tales of the pale healer. They left changed, carrying her story back to their lands. Awinita's name meant fawn, but she was a lion, fierce in her love for her people. The forest grew lush, a testament to Awinita's care. She walked its paths, speaking to the spirits, her white hair glowing in the sun. The community thrived, free of fear. They built a council fire, where all voices were heard, even the youngest. Awinita smiled, seeing Elsie's dream in every face. The white wolf howled, a song of unity, echoing through the trees. One night, under a full moon, Awinita stood in the clearing. She felt Elsie's presence, a warmth in her heart. I kept my promise, she whispered. The stars seemed to answer, twinkling brighter. Galilahi nuzzled her, her fur soft. Awinita knew she was never alone. The spirits, her mother, the forest, all were with her. She sang, her voice carrying hope to the heavens. The legend of Awinita spread beyond the Cherokee. Travelers spoke of a pale woman who healed with love, who turned a curse into a blessing. Her forest became a sanctuary, a place where fear dissolved. Children learned her story, their eyes wide with wonder. Awinita's life proved the power of resilience, of faith in the earth's embrace, of love over hatred. As Awinita aged, she trained a young girl, Sula, to carry on her work. Sula, like Awinita, was different, born with a limp, but fearless. Awinita saw herself in her, teaching her the herbs, the songs, the spirits' ways. Galilahi, now old, lay beside them, her eyes gentle. Awinita knew the forest would be safe with Sula, the legacy of love unbroken. In her final moments, Awinita lay by the stream, Sula at her side. The white wolf rested her head on Awinita's chest, her breathing slow. Live without fear, Awinita told Sula. As her spirit joined Elise's, the forest sighed, wildflowers blooming around her. The Cherokee mourned, but their grief was light, for Awinita's love lived on, woven into the earth, eternal.